You still sound a little far away.
So far away, we wait for the day. Copyright.
I think we won't get marked as long as it's not monetized.
You never know with YouTube these days.
I want to go mess with my audio settings and see if I can't adjust the pickup.
That's fine. Just don't start playing any Nintendo games, because then you'll get flagged for sure.
Yeah, don't even say the word Nintendo.
Let's come up with a nickname for it so we don't have to say it.
Nintendo.
The N-word? I don't think if we go around saying the N-word the entire podcast, Luis, I don't think people will get that we're talking about a video game company.
So how about that dirty N-word company,
I
right?
just hate the N-word sometimes, you know?
I mean, God damn it.
We are off to a
This
great
is already
start for the next worst podcast.
And their weird obsession with
Inappropriate?
guys
I don't
in
know.
plumber outfits with mustaches.
Right?
I mean, we're already, it sounds wrong and we didn't even start the podcast properly.
And, what's their deal with, running around, cutting bushes, stealing money from people? What's the deal? Right?
I know. How can you endorse theft?
Just the N-word, man. It's just what they are.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo does not, the N-word does not endorse theft. They're actually paranoid about it. You can't play any of their games and have footage of it unless you are willing to give your
they
profits
endorse
to
theft
them.
as long as you don't steal it from them.
Right.
But if you're stealing rupees from some random guy's pot, that's his entire life savings.
Yeah, I mean, you just walk into someone's house and steal all their rupees.
Oh, you mean content-wise?
Because of those dirty N-words.
How about now?
You're louder. We can hear you better.
Well, shit.
To be clear, we're talking
because my
about
old
Nintendo.
headset was being stupid.
Oh, we're still talking about Nintendo? My bad.
You sounded fine earlier. You must have changed something.
I don't know. I can hear you better now.
I didn't change anything. I mean, I just changed my microphone to my laptop microphone instead of my headset microphone, but should I go back to my headset?
Yeah, I feel like that one was scary. We can understand what you're saying. It just sounds like a little far away, and it sounds kind of echoey. Not like it's echoing us, but like it sounds like your voice is echoing around a room.
Say fuzz roll, duh. Wait, Jam, say something else?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it still sounds like you're about to get waterboarded.
I don't know how to fix it.
Okay, maybe go back to the other one. We can.
You know what? Give me a minute. I'm gonna grab my webcam. Use my webcam and see if that's any better.
Okay.
Yeah, now you sound really muffled.
We should try to find a new nickname for Nintendo. That one is not gonna work.
You mean the one that you brought up?
Hey, I didn't bring anything up. I typed it in the chat.
Oh, so you didn't mean for that to be Nintendo? Like saying the N-word?
No, I didn't realize the innuendo. Or, I guess, maybe What the fuck was that?
Clown noises?
The gym?
Jim, are you being strangled by a tiny mouse?
Sounds like there's a chicken trying to assassinate Jim.
Microphone not too good.
To another episode of the Shifty Key Podcast. I'm Luis, aka SpartanSloth, and today we have
SpartanSloth, aka TJ1023.
Wait, what?
Hi, and I'm SpartanSloth, aka Jim Servac.
I'm Darkside, aka the exotic German.
You're
out.
German?
He is now.
That's a thing. That's my thing now.
That's never happened before.
No, it's the first time it's ever been brought up, ever.
Totally not a reference.
The original content.
It's also totally not an inside joke that everyone's gonna laugh at.
Yeah, well, let's avoid that.
Except for the one person who's not inside.
Well, Jim, you're inside our hearts, I guess. Not like
Well,
disease,
Well, that escalated quickly.
but
I mean, once you're in, you win, right?
well, that depends. I mean, there are stuff you can remove surgically, I guess.
Surgically remove loving somebody.
Well, I wasn't like saying loving somebody. It's more like,
We-
you know, that cartoon in which the bus shrinks and kids go through the human body and shit. I'm just implying that maybe Jim is doing that right now.
Magic School Bus.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you.
Great show.
Totally forgot
Yeah,
the
that
name for
was a
some
pretty good
reason.
show. Well, I mean, like, the name is literally all you need to define the entire show.
Well, yeah.
Well, maybe not the
but
entire show. Maybe a better name would be Magic School Bus with Crazy Teacher Lady.
Doesn't like one of the kids die in one of the space episodes? Like he just gets sucked into the vacuum of space and freezes to death or something?
Oh yeah, I think that did happen.
Nearly.
Like, I think they just pulled him back in and thought him out or something. Like, that would actually
Because
help.
that's how it
Thing you
works.
can do in space.
We're going to teach you about science.
Totally
Go
fine,
into
guys. I was just
We need a
blasting into space.
volunteer. Jenkins, come here for a second. Yes, teacher.
I volunteer as tribute. All right, now reel it back in and dump some hot water on him.
Speaking of space, we were talking before about Nintendo, before we started the podcast, which you will probably hear something or not, I don't know.
I
And
think
so-
we agreed they are herefore known as the N-word.
No.
yeah, that's not an
no.
appropriate nickname for
Maybe not.
Nintendo.
Why?
People could
I
get
don't,
that confused.
I don't get it. Is there something else that the N-word is associated with, or what?
Is there something that your culture has against the N word?
I
No,
would say
I don't know what you're talking about.
there's like the word night lamp, and people could confuse with that. So, yeah,
What are you talking about? What a night lamp?
night lamp. It starts with an N.
Are you being racist right now?
You're being racist. Your mom's being racist.
Well, I don't think she appreciates that very much.
All right then. So back on topic. It seems like Nintendo will open up auditions for, I think, the Super Smash Brothers game. Like you can have new characters and shit.
Yeah, that wasn't an audition. They were like, they started a kind of a contest for people to, they can put any character's name from any video game, and like the more people that put in that character's name, the more votes it gets.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Voting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're mostly intending like, Nintendo characters, but the internet being what it is, nobody like we just assume everything.
Didn't like
They're
everyone
putting
vote
on-
Goku and then they just nixed the whole thing?
Yeah, a lot of people are voting Goku, I guess.
But here's the thing: if you put another character that is not from any Nintendo franchise, either you get a loophole in the system, and people making videos with that character can get away saying like, "Oh, it's not on Nintendo. There's this other company," or Nintendo will, I don't know, acquire quote unquote your property and fuck your shit up.
Well, I mean, they already have Snake, who's he's a PlayStation, isn't he?
I don't think they have the rights for him anymore, though.
I mean, the Oddworld character, Abe, they were trying to put him in the game.
The thing is, I don't think Nintendo would ever like. There's no way that if they did put another franchise's character, there's no way they would ever even consider trying to be like, "Yep, that's ours now." Because
So what you're saying is we're never going to see the Master Chief in Smash?
Probably not.
I don't
probably
think
not.
so.
I'm also
that'd be
willing to
awesome.
bet it's probably only characters that have been on a Nintendo console. It might not necessarily be a Nintendo character, but it has to be a game that was at some point produced on one of their systems.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
They just never specified in the rules, which is why people are posting things from everywhere.
You know what Smash needs? 8
SpartanSloth.
more Pokemon.
More Pokemon?
I agree.
Typhlosion, to be specific.
Oh god!
Just like it should be like 80% Pokemon, and then all the other non.
And then
Pokemon
have a...
characters.
Instead of
Let me
Super
guess.
Smash Bros, it's Super Pokemon 2.
Seriously, Pokemon should
Then
just like
it's
get its own
Pokemon
Smash
Stadium.
game.
That's it.
Yeah, you're describing like all the Pokemon games where you actually physically control the Pokemon.
If you know what I mean.
Like it's a third person shooter with
We're
Pokemon.
not going there, Luis.
But I actually submitted a character from a video game that was not a Nintendo game.
Was it stupid?
And there was?
It wasn't stupid. It was Sergeant Johnson. Sergeant Johnson's a badass.
Actually, you're right. He is a badass.
He is pretty cool.
I even took a screenshot of it, posted it on Reddit, and naturally the first comment was, "You misspelled Sergeant." So that was a thing.
Yeah, well, TJ, that's... Now you know he's not going to win because you misspelled Sergeant.
Did anyone else hear that comment? Because TJ just went silent when he spoke.
No, I heard him.
I heard him.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the comment you made because on my end it just I guess it was a packet drop or something. But you're like, yeah, the first comment was, and then it was quiet.
Oh,
and
he
then you started
misspelled
talking.
Sergeant.
Yeah. The story sounded a lot more interesting in my head.
Yeah, it probably should have stayed there.
Oh, okay. Fuck you, Spencer.
How lovely.
Spencer is a right proper asshole.
Hey, Spencer, do you stink?
I mean, I haven't showered since I got home from work yesterday. It's entirely possible.
But do you smell like shit?
Probably not.
Smell like
shit,
rancid
no,
ass.
Intense, pungent man sweat.
I mean, because, Jim said that you're a proper asshole, so if you want to be a proper asshole, you gotta smell like ass.
Well, here's the thing.
you gotta
why
read.
do you assume a proper asshole is like a dirty one, right? Like, when I hear proper asshole, I think like clean, prim and proper.
Because that's what they're used for.
Well, yeah, but the inside of an asshole is not necessarily clean,
Well, I don't think we clarified the location of where we are in the asshole.
So
This
where
conversation's
assholes
going
normally
places.
located in your mind?
No, I mean like on the asshole specifically. Like, are we on the outside looking in the asshole, or are we like deep inside the asshole? Like, are we trapped on the inside? Has the sphincter closed? Where are we?
I feel like no matter your proximity of being inside nor outside, if you're within a very close range of it, inside or outside, you're smelling it. It's gonna smell terrible.
I don't know. That just sounds like a poorly taken care of asshole to me.
Alright then, great conversation.
I have no retort.
And speaking of games, you guys have GTA 5?
I have it for
Nope.
360.
Yeah, same here.
So I'm not sure how that would apply to you guys, but I found out today that some places around the game spawn some of the cars like already either fully customized or very well customized, and you can just grab those pretty much for free, and that also counts for online. That's pretty cool. I managed to grab like 3 or 4 today, although I did sell one of them because it was like just a little bit of customizations, and I could grab like $13,000 on it, so I just sold it.
So you can sell the more expensive cars now after you steal them? Because whenever I did that online, it said I couldn't do it.
It's like you cannot even sometimes they spawn like some of the really expensive cars with customizations, but you cannot either sell those or save them in your garage. You can save them on the single player part of the game, but not GTA Online. What happens is you can sell the cars that are less than $90,000, if I'm not mistaken. And these fully customized vehicles that spawn like every once in a while, depending on the place, you can sell them, and they are worth more than that, than the usual base price. So I sold. It was a car that looks like the one they used in Harry Potter, the flying car. And it was a game car, and it had like a few body customizations and stuff. So I grabbed $13,000 for it, and I only got killed once by the gang.
By the gang?
Only once.
Yeah, it was in gang territory, so
What did you do, like walk into Crips territory wearing the Bloods colors?
pretty much. I did steal a car in front of them, and then they start shooting.
Pro tip: don't piss off gangsters.
Yeah, even in real life, don't go around, pissing off armed gangsters.
Well, I hadn't
Even
heard
in
of.
real life. I feel like that's especially in real life.
But I had not actually heard of the thing where you could find fully leveled cars. But I did read a story that Rockstar was cracking down on some sort of exploit where people could transfer some apparently really overpowered car from the campaign, and they transferred it into multiplayer. And the way that Rockstar fixed it was they made it so that whenever these people who got it into multiplayer got into the car, it exploded.
Oh,
So that's pretty interesting.
Nice.
that sounds cool.
It's a really interesting way to deal with an exploit. Like, instead of banning characters or like removing their stuff, just make it explode when they use it. It's a very interactive solution.
It's like if you find some sort of money glitch, just every time you pay for something, you explode.
Yeah.
Or just like the teller shoots you point blank in the face or something.
You walk up to the ATM, withdraw money, it explodes.
Or like you order a car from Pegasus and then a SWAT team just shows up and murders you.
I mean, they are in a car.
That would be interesting. It's like, you ordered a SWAT team? No, I ordered a car. You got a different car. Because I'm Batman.
Motherfucker. But yeah,
TJ,
like
you can't talk about Batman.
I can talk about Batman all I want.
No, you don't like Connor, so you can't talk about Batman.
Those two are not related necessarily. So
Identical.
They are not. They're physically and mentally not identical.
To make it clear for the audience, yesterday we were playing Destiny. I was playing Destiny. I don't know how, but they got me into it. And then we started discussing Assassin's Creed. And according to Spencer, Connor from Assassin's Creed 3 is pretty much the same thing as Batman. Somehow.
Identical, yeah.
Not really. When did Batman ever have to hunt down his father, who's the leader of the enemy order?
When was he
his name
obsessed
is
with
Ra's
Charles
al Ghul,
Lee?
buddy?
Ra's al Ghul did not kill Batman's father.
No, he didn't kill Batman's father, but he was a father figure to Batman.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not the same as saying that they're identical. And Haytham Kenway was never a father figure to Connor. He was just his biological father.
Biological contributor. And you know what? They had some father-son moments, like when they were killing people together in that one mission.
Yeah, that was so cute. Like, they were flying kites and murdering people.
Stabbing people in the throat.
And then they started stabbing bears and wolves and wearing like their skin. That was some
real father-son time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you can probably find a way to make that argument, but you can't say they're exactly identical.
Fine, I won't call them identical, but I can say that their story arcs are fairly similar. They have a very similar trajectory.
You can say they're identical archetypes for characters.
That too. They're both brutes.
Okay, the archetype, maybe I can see some resemblance to it, sure. But an archetype is pretty much the skeleton of a character.
Well, they also both have secret bases.
Well,
what?
No! It's not secret.
Connor has the homestead, Batman has the Batcave.
The only people Batman bring to the Batcave is like Alfred and his sidekicks, and that's it. Connor brings like
more hey, come to my place.
That's just a problem of modernization.
Oh, fuck's
sake. I doubt those homestead jerk-offs knew much about Connor's struggle against the Templars.
Dude, he had to kill like British troops in front of those people in some missions. Like, there was this one dude who was a deserter? Blah, 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 blah. I forgot the word. Anyway, he ran away from the British army, and then the Brits came after him, and Connor just brutally murdered them in front of the guy. And he was like, oh, thanks, you gave me a hand.
And without the murder, you don't think
I'll join your village.
Like Batman did.
Batman doesn't
the only difference
people.
is that Batman wouldn't have murdered them. He just would have like incredibly maimed them.
He would have just punched them a couple times and then like thrown some batarangs at them.
He would break bones and legs. He would make sure they never came back.
I think that's called killing.
Yeah, that's kind of what that is.
No, it's just a deterrent. It's like breaking their arms and legs to make sure that it's a message. Like, if you come back here, guess what? More broken legs.
Another pro tip, if you ever become Batman, don't kill people. Actually, don't kill people at all, but,
But especially for Batman.
Yeah.
Especially for Batman.
Also, even if you have a gun, don't use it, even if there's like two armies fighting each other with guns, just throw them aside. Just beat the shit out of each other.
Unless you equip
Because
it
they're
with like
fucking
a
Batman.
sweet like grappling hook, then you can use a gun. But that's it.
You have to be a man if you use a grappling hook. You have to throw that thing yourself. You can't use these cheap guns.
No, a grappling gun. I think Rorschach from Watchmen used one of those too. I'm not sure if he killed the guy, but he did take him out.
Rorschach is also Batman.
Yeah, I mean,
He
archetype,
Everybody's
Yes.
Batman to Spencer.
they're
Well,
both
no, just
really
like
similar.
every universe has its Batman. You know, like in Marvel, it's Iron Man, except he's slightly more eccentric.
No,
No.
dude,
Look,
Iron Man and
look,
Batman,
I'm not
they
saying.
are no.
I'm not saying I'm Batman. I'm just saying nobody's ever seen me and Batman in the same room.
I mean, you know, fair point.
If anyone is, I'm not sure, but maybe Black Panther is more like Batman.
Black Panther's like
Okay.
Batman.
First
I
of
mean,
all,
he's filthy rich, and
If that's
he's
the only
more like
criteria, then Bill Gates is Batman.
Bill Gates.
I mean,
is
that's
Batman.
what you
From
just
our
described.
universe.
You just said Iron Man was the same thing as Batman, just because he uses his filthy,
Just because he
stinking
uses
rich money
money.
to buy
I never
technology.
implied anything about money when I
Just
referenced
because it
Iron Man.
makes it
TJ.
rain.
Okay, then what makes Iron Man just like Batman?
He's the eccentric of the group. He's always isolated. Like he's
He is
half
not
a
always
team
isolated.
player, and he's not a traditional hero. He's an anti-hero. Most heroes in either the Marvel or DC universe are like traditional heroes. But Iron Man and Batman are both anti-heroes. They're not traditional heroes
But
in
here's
any
the thing.
sense.
Batman is could be considered an anti-hero because he has plans to take out the Justice League if he has
No,
to.
that
He's always
Luis,
silent
you're
and all
not
that.
arguing against him. He's saying that they're both anti-heroes.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
exactly
Hold
what
on,
I'm saying.
I'm getting to the point. So maybe he could be considered kind of like that. But the thing with Iron Man, he's just a fucking asshole. Like not always, but recently he's been portrayed like an asshole all the time. Ever since Civil
Because
War.
he is an asshole.
Also, to be an
But-
anti-hero, like you have to relate. You can relate it to the hero's journey aspect, and Iron Man actually went on the part of the hero's journey. He had the call to help out, save the world, and he rejected it at first, but then he accepted it in the end eventually.
That
And
doesn't sound like an anti-hero to you?
No, that's the actual definition of the hero's journey.
Okay,
You have
but
the call. You have
anti-heroes
the
can go
call
on a
to
hero's journey too. They just have to have a different
No.
agenda.
the definition of an anti-hero is they reject the journey and they go and do their own thing.
But he does that all the time.
But in the end, he goes back and he actually, he rejects it at first, and then he goes back, and he does what's expected of him.
Yeah,
No,
but the key to being an anti-hero is you have the same end game as a hero. The only difference is that your motives to get there, like your agency is different than a traditional hero. You're willing to bend the rules to get what you want, but your end game is still the same.
I mean, to be honest, I find it hard to put Iron Man in either a hero or anti-hero category because, as I was saying, ever since Civil War, he's been playing his own game. He's being an asshole pretty much. He tried to make all the heroes sign up, and then he was like, "Oh, you're out with
Also,
me?
no
Well,
spoilers
fuck you
because
all."
some of us haven't read the comics.
Dude, Civil War has been out for almost 10 years or something.
I've never read it, and I'm waiting for the movie to come out.
Oh, okay. But that's pretty much it. You do know there are both sides, and Iron Man defends the signing up side, right? That's the
Yes.
premise. There you go. That's
I think
no spoiler.
your point is that Iron Man can be an asshole sometimes.
No, not sometimes. He's been an asshole for a long time now. And then he, there's the whole thing with extremists that he's been playing around with for a while now. And now he has even more of a reason to be an asshole because of the... what's the name? The Axis storyline, which I think I've mentioned before. But if not, I'm not going to spoil it, but you should check it out. It's interesting. And it doesn't mean Iron Man is a shitty character. He's a pretty good fucking character, but it's hard to say
no
he's
Batman,
a
but
hero
yeah.
or an anti-hero. He is Iron Man. It's kind of complicated.
I define an anti-hero by your willingness to go rogue. Like if you're willing to go rogue and do your own thing, as long as it's for the same end game, you're still, going for your view of justice. You can be an anti-hero.
And Iron Man sometimes seems to do things for his own profit, or not necessarily
Well, yeah,
monetary.
gotta make
profit,
that money.
but-
But I also think that it's you can't just say that he's Marvel Universe's Batman based off of one characteristic.
Oh, absolutely not.
There's lots of characteristics.
Okay.
Were you
They're both
expecting me to list them all
people.
off?
Not all of them, but list more than just the fact that they're both rich and they're both anti-heroes.
They're both rich. They're both anti-heroes. They're both philanthropists. They're both assholes. They're both geniuses. One of them in several
wait,
fields.
Batman
an
isn't a
asshole.
genius. Batman gets his technology from Wayne Industries.
No, I mean, Batman is a pretty good detective.
Batman is a genius. Batman's intellect is compared to that of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, they say that a lot in the Arkham games.
Didn't they,
Still,
speaks, like,
he's not
over
an
didn't they
30
also
languages.
describe some completely improbable amount of his strength and things like that were just ridiculous?
What was that?
No, they say his strength is of a normal human being with regular exercises and shit. I think.
Well, Batman's physical stature is compared to that of a human at its absolute peak. There's nothing supernatural about Batman's fitness level. Just trained every aspect of his physical being to its absolute peak of humanity.
I'm really the wrong person to be arguing this. I have a friend who is really into comics and Batman who would probably love to have this conversation, but all I know about the comics universe is from the movies, and they don't really delve into that too much.
Well, we can all agree that Batman is better than Iron Man.
No, we can't.
Speaking of Iron Man, and I don't want us to get into a DC versus Marvel fight because that would tear this podcast and our friendships apart. Are you guys excited for the Avengers movie, the new one?
Yes.
I don't know
I'm
if
pretty
excited
excited
is a good word. I'll certainly watch it when it comes out, and I'll probably really enjoy it, but I'm not holding my breath waiting for it to come out.
I'm excited for it. I really want to see it. It's going to be a midnight release for me, and I'm probably not going to work the next day.
Yeah, when does it come out again? Isn't it May 12th?
Yeah, it's
Is it
either
really that
the
soon?
middle or the end of the month. One of those two.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a movie where I've wanted to go to the midnight release of it in a long time.
Oh no, it's May 1st.
May
I think
1st? Huh.
I think Harry Potter, the last part 2 of Book 7 was the last movie that I wanted to go to at the midnight release.
Man, I really didn't care about that. I mean, I cared because it was the end, but I didn't care enough to go to a midnight release.
Oh, I did. It was beautiful.
I really wanted to go to the midnight release of Revenge of the Sith, but I was far too young to do it, so I was 12 or 13 at the time. So
I'll be the midnight release of episode 7 as well.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
that's the next movie. The only one I can think of that I really have to be there at midnight.
Yeah, that's isn't that going to be in
December
2016 now?
Probably.
No, it's this year, isn't it?
No,
I
I heard it got delayed.
Christmas.
I heard it got delayed.
Ah, fuck.
I don't mind if it gets delayed as long as it's a good product. I would prefer waiting longer to get something that's good as opposed to having it come out sooner and not be as good.
Oh wait, maybe not. I just looked it up and right now it says it's still December 18th.
I trust J.J. Abrams. I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
TJ, why do you play with my emotions like that?
At the very least, if the movie bombs, at least we can call him Jar Jar Abrams.
I don't know if I trust Abrams, but he can't do any worse than Lucas did with the last 3. So
I don't trust Abrams because he looks sketchy.
I don't know. He did pretty good with Star Trek. A lot of people don't like those movies, but I like him a lot.
The way he portrays himself in interviews and stuff, he just looks sketchy to me. I don't know why, but it's man, I'm not sure if I will let you handle a chocolate bar that I was eating, but I guess I'll be proven wrong or not.
I trust him and I don't trust him. I trust him because he seems like he's a very good director, but I'm also a little nervous that I was a big fan of the Star Trek movies, but I don't want Star Wars to be just a different version of Star Trek. I don't want it to become that.
I don't want Star Wars to become an attempt at hyper-realism like he did with Star Trek, because that's not what it's supposed to be,
Yeah. Or Star Wars had comedy in it, but it also had I don't know. A lot of the new Star Trek, there's a lot of little jokes and comedy and things like that.
Like action hero one-liners and shit like that.
Yeah, that was good. I like that in the Star Trek. That isn't really what Star Wars is. Star Wars is more I don't know how to describe it. Space opera. Like that's the only way. That's the only word that works for Star Wars. It's a space opera.
Yeah, that's the way.
Whereas Star Trek is like an action adventure sci-fi movie.
That's the way Lucas thought about Star Wars at first. I remember either it was a DVD commentary or an interview I read, but the idea he had was like the Sunday series people used to have in the 70s. They would go to the movies every weekend and like watch small parts of a story. And he thought about doing Star Wars like that, in that spirit, but as a movie or some shit. And well, I think it worked well.
Yeah, with the first three.
Well, I like the prequels.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
prequels too. I like bits and pieces of the prequels. Like the Clone Wars is by far the worst Star Wars movie. But like I used to blame the actor for Anakin, Christian, whatever his name is. But like I've seen him in other movies since, and he's not a bad actor. So like I feel like the only thing you can really blame for the shittiness of those movies, and that movie specifically, is the writing. It's just really bad.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's-
gotta agree with you. Clone Wars is I would say my least favorite, because that's the thing. I'm the sort of fan that I really like all the Star Wars things a lot. But yeah, I mean, the writing for Anakin in Clone Wars was pretty shitty. He was angsty all the time and whiny. But Revenge of the Sith, it got better. Like there were some awkward moments between him and Padme, like, "Oh Padme, I love you so much," and then he just stabs someone in the throat,
Yeah,
like, "I want to be with you forever," and then he chops someone's head, and comes back and forth between
I
that.
feel
but
like the worst part of like Revenge of the Sith was probably a good movie. The only bad thing about
The
it,
best prequel one.
probably not the only bad
The
thing.
Vader moment. No, that's the worst part by far.
Yeah, that and like there's everybody went into that knowing that there wasn't going to be a happy ending. Like
Yeah.
there was no happy ending coming, and it was just like we knew that Anakin was going to fall to the dark side. That was a given. I think it was just the way that he fell. It's like the only reason he turned to the dark side was like, oh, this guy says that Padme's going to die. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
join you. Oh,
Well,
I'll
it
stab
was
this guy
pretty
that I've known for
decent.
years.
I
They
think it
won't
was
let me be a
decent.
real master, and my girlfriend's gonna die, and
They
I'm evil now.
They put me in the highest position that a Jedi can be without making me a master. Wah.
Well, because here's
Yeah.
the thing, you gotta understand the character. I mean, sure, there were moments of poor writing for Anakin, but the way they make his character is that of someone really young who wants to rise fast on the ranks of the Jedi Order. And when they try to hold him down, he's like, "Oh, that's offensive, you fucks." And
Yeah.
then there's the whole thing that the Emperor tries to manipulate him and all that, until he starts having visions of Padme dying. And it is a pretty solid reason for Anakin to turn to the dark side. It may not be for us watching the movie and like, "Oh, that's, duh."
And
But
actually,
he
I
loves
want
that woman so much that he's willing to fuck the galaxy apart if that's what it takes to save her.
Yep.
and actually, like I feel like there was a lot of stuff that they added in later to the story of like why Anakin fell, like in the Clone Wars series, that like made me feel more like he had an actual reason to have a lot of like hard feelings toward the Jedi Council. Like have you guys all watched it?
I've watched like the first
Yeah.
2.5
Wars?
seasons. It's
I
a really
think I
good
watched
show.
up until the 3rd season.
Wow, you really should finish it.
I've watched all of it.
I started watching
all
Rebels.
of Rebels as well.
I don't have
Is
anyone to
Rebels
leech
any good?
Netflix off of anymore, so I can't watch the rest.
You don't have
Um,
access to
Rebels.
oh, sorry. Wait,
So I don't know what conversation we're having. So go ahead.
that's where I'm at
Netflix.
too. I was just gonna say you don't have access to like the internet and other sources.
I can. I just haven't been bothered to pirate the rest of the series.
Pirate? Who said pirate? Nobody here said pirate, Spencer.
Yeah.
Don't throw around the P word.
He said the word pirate because we were talking about Assassin's Creed like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, you mean the best Assassin's Creed? Yeah.
Yeah,
That I feel like we can all agree.
that we can agree on.
Anyway,
But Sorry, go ahead.
before we get off of Star Wars, yeah, Clone Wars, great show. the only problem with Clone Wars is it had a bad name thanks to the second movie, Attack of the Clones. People see the name Clone Wars and they're like, "Oh, that show's going to be terrible." Because that's how I felt for the longest time. And then I actually watched it and I'm like, "Holy crap, this is amazing."
I always assumed it was going to be like really, really like kiddie and stuff. And like the first season, like it wasn't necessarily kiddie, but it was very toned down and like super G-rated. But like the later seasons, it does get really good and it helps.
Oh, it gets really dark.
And like that show represents like one of my major criticisms of the prequel movies, in that they don't discuss Anakin's accolades like at all. They don't discuss like how great of a Jedi he really was before he fell. It's just like, oh well, now he's on the council because whatever the soon-to-be emperor wants him there. And it's just a political move. Like they don't discuss like how powerful he is or all of the amazing things he actually does for the Jedi as one of the leading generals of the Clone Wars. They never get into any of that in the prequels.
Yeah. Whereas the show really bridges that gap, and in the later seasons it also kind of shows why Anakin might have had, differing feelings towards the council, but I won't spoil anything for the rest of you.
Anakin was a very gray Jedi in like the same thread as Qui-Gon Jinn. Like he understood what was right without having to filter it through the lens of a Jedi.
And also, Jim, like I've heard people say that Star Wars Rebels does not live up to the same expectations as the Clone Wars, and that's kind of. Oh, sorry.
No. Sorry, I thought that was the end of your sentence because you paused.
Yeah, I tend to have like long pauses. I'm really guilty of that.
He's very dramatic.
I'm very dramatic.
It's William Shatner.
Well, you see, I sometimes like to talk in very Shatner,
which is kind of hypocritical of me to say because I sometimes do that too.
But anyway, sorry for the
We're all
long
William
pause.
Shatner.
I don't even remember what I was trying to say.
Continue, Jim. Does Rebels live up to the hype?
I think that for season 1, the first like 2/3 of Rebels is kind of like meh. It's really not great, and it strikes me kind of the same way that the first season of Clone Wars did, where it seems very aimed towards like a childish audience, and it doesn't. There's no bigger theme that's addressed, and I think at the end of season 1, there's still not a bigger theme that's addressed. But at the end of season 1, they acknowledge that you start to see the foundation of the Rebel Alliance and the people who are kind of pulling the strings in the background. Because now that all the other Star Wars lore is gone, I assume that means the Force Unleashed is gone as well. And that being the case, you start to see the beginning of the Rebel Alliance, which I think is cool. And I like the character of Kanan because he's not to spoil anything, but they show it kind of in the previews for the show, so I'm just going to say it. He's a Jedi that never quite finished being a Jedi. He was still very young when the Clone Wars ended, so he's not like a Jedi proper. And so it's an interesting character. I think he's an interesting character. I don't think it's as good as Clone Wars at the end of the first season.
Okay. So, but it does seem to like get a little better.
Yeah, no, it's definitely better in the last like 4 episodes of the Rebels. It's actually much better than the beginning of it. The last episode especially is really good because I want to see I want season 2 to start right now so I know what's going to happen next.
And
I might have to catch up on that.
And they bring up with special appearances and stuff, a lot of characters from the movies and stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, but I did get it spoiled for me from Twitter actually, and I think it was one of the Star Wars official things. But oh well. But yeah, I really should finish the first season.
I haven't watched it yet, but I plan to.
Yeah, I mean, the first episode, I think I saw it when it came out. The premiere of it, maybe the day after, and I was really disappointed with how childish it really was. It had a lot of really cartoony cliches, and I got really turned off of it. But one of the things that I really liked about the Clone Wars was how they weren't afraid to show I know they were just clone troopers, but they weren't afraid to show them actually getting killed, because it is a war and soldiers do die. So, it didn't seem like they showed that same level of like possibility that the characters might die in that show. It's like, oh, no violence.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't think that in Rebels there's a very small like core group of characters that we don't know the predetermined fates for. Like you watch Clone Wars, we know that Anakin's going to fall to the dark side, Obi-Wan's going to go into seclusion. Pretty much all the Jedi are going to die. We don't know what's going to happen to these characters, so whether they're going to die or not is kind of up in the air. And I think that's part of it, but it is very cartoon cliche in a lot of ways. It makes it a little difficult to watch. I think, TJ, since you've watched the first episode, I think you'll be fine if you start with like the last 4 episodes of season 1 and you'll be set, because everything in between is kind of just crap. There's not really anything interesting.
That just seemed like a really common tactic for like Star Wars series. They always have like the beginning season, or at least like the beginning several episodes, be very like G-rated and really toned down. And I think it's just sort of like to build a larger audience, make it more accessible to more people. And then once they have that audience is when they generally delve into like the deeper, darker themes and explore a lot more complex issues.
Yeah. I hope they do that, because I believe it's the same exact team that worked on Clone Wars. Like, they're just publishing through Disney now, so I mean, I wish they would have gone the same route. I mean, I know they're publishing the show on Disney Channel, which is probably a younger audience in general than Cartoon Network. So that might be what they're trying to cater to.
Yeah, I bet that the Disney, being that it's Disney XD here in the US, so it's a very much a kids channel. I bet that they're like, okay, we can only have so much violence. I mean, you see, like stormtroopers get shot and TIE fighters blow up, but nobody gets really beaten, nobody gets mauled. I don't think there's any blood in the Clone Wars either, but there's not that impact that
actually there is some blood in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but it's not overbearing.
It's not graphic.
I know.
Right.
I was actually watching an episode of Clone Wars earlier, like rewatching, and there's like, oh, we found this blood, and it's definitely not clone.
Yeah.
It's probably
do you see anybody ever actually bleeding?
I don't think so.
I think you see it like every now and then. Someone will have like a splotch of blood, like they just came from a battle or something, but only in the context of like we're not fighting anymore and we're generally safe.
Yeah,
we're not like at risk of dying at this point.
Maybe they've got like scratches or something.
Yeah, something minor. But like you'll never see like an arm get blown off with like blood gushing or things like that.
But
if anything, it'll be like lightsabers with the.
I think they have shown like some clone troopers' heads getting chopped off.
Yeah, but even then you only see like the helmet.
And it's a helmet.
Yeah,
doesn't mean there's a head there.
Yeah, maybe he turtled that shit. You never know.
Maybe it shrunk.
Like his head just falls off. It's like, don't worry, guys, I'm okay.
Shrunk.
And then he gets shot in the face.
Wow, man! I just forgot how to shrink.
They'll just use like DBZ tactics,
shrink,
and then
shrunk.
Whenever there's like a hole in a stormtrooper, there'll just be like a black circle where the void is supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but I meant like the verb shrink.
Yeah, it's shrunk.
Shrunk. Okay, I got it right.
But yeah, I'll probably go back and see if I can find the Rebels somewhere. Maybe watch you said the last 4 episodes were really good?
Yeah, I think those are the only ones really worth watching.
Do they still have like the big thing they did in the Clone Wars was they would have like 3-episode arcs, and I really liked that way of telling a story. That way they could have like a a longer story and still have it be episodic. They didn't have to restrict themselves to cramming this awesome story into like 20 minutes.
I think the only thing I didn't like about the Clone Wars was like the opening of every show with like the 1920s like news announcer and that stupid voice narrating every intro. That's the only thing I didn't like about the Clone Wars.
Space! War's been tearing the galaxy apart. Jedi Master Yoda is fucking shit up like a mouse, and Count Dooku is still an asshole.
I think that actually got better in the later seasons. I don't think they did that as much in the later seasons.
I think you should be the new narrator, Luis.
Thank you.
Star Wars. Time to go fight some stars.
Star Wars. The Final Frontier. Wait, what? That's copyrighted? Okay.
No, I don't think that combination of words is copyrighted.
Maybe it is.
I wonder who copyrighted it first: the guys who own Star Trek or the guys who own Star Wars.
Probably Nintendo.
I just assumed the phrase "the final frontier" was copyrighted by Star Wars.
I mean, I guess
Not
so.
Star Wars. I meant Star Trek, obviously.
I don't think you can you can copyright can you copyright if you copyright a shorter phrase, does that exclude anything that uses those combination of words in a longer phrase?
If Candy Crush can copyright candy, you can fucking copyright anything.
Did they actually get away with that?
Yes.
That's complete bullshit.
I think they also copyrighted Saga.
That's really stupid. Somebody
bullshit.
One of these days, some lawyer is gonna call them out on their bullshit. It's gonna go to the Supreme Court, and they're like, Supreme Court's gonna be like, "What the fuck? You can't copyright a word like that."
Yeah, that's the thing. Why copyright candy? You're gonna get so many lawsuits, right? Even if you win them, the legal battles will cost you so much money just to keep that right.
Yeah, like the Star Wars saga. Literally every time somebody uses the word saga. I mean, there's stupid stuff like that happens all the time. There was even a I was watching a long time ago. It was Ramsey's Kitchen Nightmares because I'm a fucking nerd and that's what I watch sometimes.
Nerd.
And the dude went to some cafe in Pennsylvania, and this woman literally had the word "hun" copyrighted. She copyrighted the word "hun." It was the catchphrase of that city. The city's catchphrase was "hun." That's the word everybody said, and she copyrighted it and made money off it. She was a total bitch. Those are not words you should be able to copyright.
I agree. That should just be public
domain.
That's what I was trying to go for. Thank you, Jim.
I feel like eventually, if stuff like this keeps going on, we're going to get to the point where every time somebody makes a tweet, they're going to have to pay 20 cents to pay royalties for each word. I
think you can only get sued if you're making money off it. As long as it's not monetized, you can say whatever you want.
Well, there are a lot of people who make money off the internet, and
I don't think they're making money off their tweets though.
I guess not off their tweets, but it's going to be so hard to do any form of advertising or anything if every single word in the dictionary is copyrighted.
Yeah, people won't even sing in their YouTube videos anymore for fear of being flagged.
You said "the." That's copyrighted.
I did say "the." I don't give a fuck though. I'm dangerous.
You what?
You're a rebel. You're a Star Wars rebel.
I am. I'm gray as shit over here. I'm like a Jedi that's straight from the path.
You're like an anti-hero.
Exactly. I am Batman.
And here we go with the Batman talk again. Before you and TJ start having a knife fight because of that, you guys want to do some questions?
I guess.
Sure, Luis. Why don't we do some questions?
All right then. Questions.
Nice.
Thank you. All right then. Yes, TJ?
I said Kerr.
Oh. Okay then. So, this one was sent by Sun88P, and he asks, truth, justice, peace, and freedom are at war. Which side would you fight for?
That's tough.
I mean, the fuck is peace doing fighting a war? That's the opposite of what peace does.
Have you been to America? That's the definition of why we fight.
It's very true.
Well,
we're fighting to bring peace to everybody.
Peace and freedom are gonna have an illicit affair.
Sure.
And they're gonna name their love child America.
Firepower.
Sorry, Jim?
I said it's peace through superior firepower.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Peace and freedom are gonna have a baby, and they're gonna name their baby America.
Oh, Rule 34.
And then justice is just gonna be over in the corner getting their shit pushed in by everybody. Same with truth.
I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be truth. Just because peace, that's implied when you win the war, right? Justice is it's relative, Justice is always relative to where you are and what that group of people believes. So I guess I would have to say truth, because no truth is universal, but you're always, I guess, sort of trying to attain the closest you can get to a universal truth, even if it's never always exact. So I would go for truth.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd probably go for truth as well. Just, if not because, justice isn't always the same thing. Truth is always the truth.
TJ, how about I be truth and you can be reconciliation?
Oh, I wanted to be regret.
No, regret dies,
Actually,
doesn't he?
yeah, maybe I don't want to be. Well, they all die.
Well, yeah, but like regret gets punched in the face until he
No.
dies.
Wait, did you go?
But it does have some
Kind
guitar
of-
to it, you know.
In case you
the
guys
skull.
couldn't tell, we're making references to Halo.
Yeah, there's the Prophet birthday anniversary or whatever the name of the skull is. You punch him and you start playing the guitar or something.
That
What?
was regret, right? When you punch in the face in Halo 2?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you really want to be that guy, TJ?
No. I want to. There's a. Did you guys read the April 1st blog that Halo did?
Nope.
They introduced a new prophet. It's the Prophet of Swag.
No,
That's who I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
Prophet of swag.
That is
I
a
love
prophet
it.
I would allow to conquer the galaxy. Well, that's a tough question, to be honest. I mean, I would probably side with freedom, although all the other three are, it's a tough question. But here's the thing. Truth is relative too. Like, there are some things that you could argue are kind of universal. Like, we need oxygen to live. Okay. Justice, really relative too. Peace is good, but the means to acquire peace might be fucked up. So, I would side with freedom because at least we have, like, with freedom, we have the option to choose to achieve peace through, not fucked up means. For example.
What about you,
does
Jim?
does that make any sense?
No, I get where you're coming from.
I was going to say that I can't believe I'm going to agree with Luis on something, but yeah, freedom. Because if you are, I'm an individualist, so I believe that everybody should have their own ability to choose their own destiny and their own fate. So I got to go with freedom because if you're free, you can make your own truth, your own peace, and your own form of justice.
So I guess it's going to be a fight with me and TJ versus Jim and Luis.
You guys chose what?
Well, then,
Truth?
fuck, y'all are going to win because Luis is useless.
Oh. I mean,
I mean,
we have
I
the
have played
Prophet of Swag
hours
on our
on
side.
end of Assassin's Creed. I know how to stab people. Just give me a joystick, and I'll stab the shit out of, digital
Yeah,
characters.
and then you're gonna end up jumping off a building into a hay baling.
To be fair, Luis did make a great bullet sponge for our Nightfall strike last night.
See?
Did he though?
I'm a tank.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I was
he's
playing
he,
as
he was
a-
more. He was more like a bullet paper.
Oh, like it was
It was like a wall of paper.
yeah, it was like he would distract Sekrion with his lifeless body for a brief moment so I could get my health back.
And then I would
Ta-da!
turn invisible and save you.
What do we
But,
got next,
yeah.
Luis?
Right then. So the next one was sent by TDBTyler. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. And his question is, what is your least favorite fruit?
That's tough.
My least favorite fruit, grapefruit.
Grapefruit's a good one. It's kind of bitter.
I
I'm
don't-
not a huge fan.
I don't know if it's a fruit necessarily. I think it is a fruit. I want to say avocado.
Yeah, it is.
I hate avocado.
I hate avocado too. I don't know if I consider it a fruit, but I don't like avocado.
I did not Google that or anything, but I'm pretty fucking sure that avocado is a fruit.
If avocado is a fruit, then I would say avocado.
I would say that's a tough one, cause
I also don't like purple grapes. I only like green grapes.
probably durian, cause durian stinks like ass.
I have heard that.
The rest I can live with. Although I'm not sure. I think I've only came in contact with durian one time in my entire life, and I was a little kid back then. But still.
I don't. I'm.
Oh, there's another
wondering
one that can
Oh.
also stink like ass, depending on how long you let it close to you. Jackfruit. You guys know what that is?
Never
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's really common here in Brazil because it's a tropical fruit. Here we call it jaca. I did
think
have
that's
to Google.
in Snake Eater, if I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive they have one of those in Snake Eater.
I did have to Google what is the name of jaca in English, and it says it's jackfruit. Supposedly it's tasty, but if you let it in the open for too long, it starts it has a really pungent smell. It's a really strong smell and it starts to stink.
So,
in my
what
opinion.
happens
Is it going
when you let
rotten in
every
that
fruit?
case?
No,
Yeah,
that's
that
the
happens
thing.
with every
It's
fruit.
not. Yeah, it's not because it's rotting. It's just that it has a really strong smell. When it starts rotting, then it's fucking impossible. People could probably use that as some sort of weapon.
Yeah, you just die.
You explode into a million pieces of jackfruit because you become a jackfruit, and that's how you explode. But you were not expecting that, right? I guess, maybe.
So surprised.
Yeah, you got me.
All right then. You know what?
Odd.
I think that's good enough for today. Here's the thing: we need more questions, people. So, if you guys could send us some questions.
Yeah, if you're listening to
Spencer,
this,
Jim, that would be really
just
appreciated.
just jot down the first question that comes to your mind and go ahead and post it in the thread.
Yeah, no questions too absurd or anything. Really, trust me. I mean, we've already talked
you
about
can give
a
us an
lot
absurd
of
question,
weird
but
things
you're going to
here.
get an absurd answer in response.
Pancakes.
Like that.
Exactly. Right. So now we need a question for the
I've
audience.
already thought of one.
Well then.
Question for the audience. I'm
No, I
woefully
mean a
unprepared.
question for us to ask on a podcast, not for the audience.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead and drop that in the questions
Yeah, you
list.
go first, Jim.
No, I'm gonna put it in the thread. Y'all figure out a question for the audience.
Well, I mean, since Jim is a founding member of this podcast, I feel like Spencer should do the questions for the audience, and because you're the guests of our guests today.
All right, I've got a question. Is Connor Batman? Do you think there are enough similarities between Connor and Batman to make that comparison?
All right, that's a decent question.
And the correct answer is yes.
Shut up!
Spoiler alert, the correct answer is not yes, it is whatever you guys think it is. Because that is the definition of a question. You can't just answer your own question, Spencer.
I'm a prophet of truth. I can tell him what the truth is.
Actually, the
I'm the
correct
prophet of swag.
answer
I'll just
is
make
pancakes.
them swag, yellow swag everywhere. I don't know what I just said.
Wait. Quirky just sent me a message, a private message, and he said, $10 you won't say boobs. Well, there you go, Quirky. Boobs. Boobs. You owe me $40?
I refuse to say the B word.
Today's. Sorry.
Memory glands.
Yeah, that counts. So you owe me $40 and, some cash for the rest of us too.
40 Australian bucks.
That's like a quarter.
Wait, is Australian money worth less than the US dollar?
I don't know. It's in Australia. Has to be, right?
I was under the impression a lot of stuff is...
It's Australia.
I don't know, they seem to be doing pretty good for themselves.
So everyone, thank you so much for listening. Spencer, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Well, I mean, thank you too, Jim. It's just that, you're here more often than Spencer. Anyway. So, a member of the podcast.
Yeah, my microphone's crap. Sorry.
That's okay. If you want to find out how to interact with us, you can still keep on listening to Jim because, there's the outro. So, until next week.
Where I will sound much better.
You just sound better in the outro. That's true.
Alright, well, bye.
Bye.
GG.
But until
well
next
played.
week, don't become bad.
Don't drop that da-da-da. No, don't drop that da-da-da.
Sure, buddy, sure. Bye. Oh, and
Bye.
Quirky, boobs. You owe me $50 now, bitch.
Thanks for listening to the Shifty Key Podcast. The intro and outro music is provided to us by our editor, TDBTyler. To get more involved with the Shifty Key Podcast, you can answer the questions for the audience asked by our guests, or Even ask the cast a question of your very own, either here in the YouTube comments or in our Rooster Teeth group. To keep updated with this channel's shenanigans, you can follow us on Twitter, join and watch our group on Rooster Teeth, or simply subscribe. All links will be in the description. Until next week, goodbye.
Oh, and Spencer, this is after the thing, right?
Yeah, what's up?
One Australian dollar is worth 0.76 US dollars. So
it's like Monopoly money is what you're saying.
I don't think Monopoly money is worth anything anywhere.
I think that was my point.
But yeah, no, I think Australian dollars are worth less than US dollars. So that's a surprise.
According to Quirky, the check is in the mail now.
Well, great podcast, guys.
Oh, thank you. That wasn't sarcasm, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Thank you then.
What do you think, Luis? Do you think it was sarcasm?
I don't think so. I mean, we're pretty fucking cool. Or so my mom says.
I mean, she's a smart lady. I'd take her word for it.
See? Also, Tyler, you don't have to worry about message sounds because I turned it off. You will probably realize that by now, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna remind whoever was recording to turn their sounds off just in case, but I guess that's not a problem.
Right then, so it's over.